Good morning. Good morning, everyone. You are certainly a lively group this early in the morning. You would not hear this much conversation in a first hour class. I can guarantee you that, okay? Before we get started with our breakfast, the celebration, we're going to have a little music to soothe our souls. And please listen to Agnes Kuchka as she plays the violin for us. Thank you so much. What a beautiful way to start the day. My name is Chris Kostopoulos, and I'm the interim assistant principal for the sophomore class, and I will be your hostess this morning for our breakfast. We'll be calling up the teachers, and then the teachers are going to share with you why your sons and daughters have been nominated as Student of the Month, which is quite an honor considering there are 2,000 students in this building, and your children have been selected. So. I do want to warn you, though, that some of the teachers need to commute to the other campus or need to get to their classes for special setups. So if someone does leave, don't be offended. It's just that they need to get ready for the rest of the kids, okay? First up, we're going to hear from Carlene Kinsey from the art department.
Good morning, everyone. I'm presenting my two students in alphabetical order. This is Isabella Bellarini, and this is Charlotte Schultz. So, Isabel Bellarini stands out from her peers with quiet focus, learning a subject she's never tried before, jewelry and metalsmithing. It's rare to have a freshman's metalsmithing work catch your attention, but Isa made an incredibly fun, summative final piece that just kept on getting better each class. Issa worked independently after showing me her idea in a brief sketch to build a Ferris wheel ring. Put it on and show them. I would find pieces she had made the day before when I'd empty the polishing tumblers and think, wow, this really has potential. I'd also notice she listened to my announcements made in class to take every opportunity to be creative and use the highest standards of craftsmanship. Issa completed an interactive Ferris wheel ring that moves in circular motion, embellished with beads for make-believe lights and larger beads for individual cars where imaginary people would sit. All this creativity and inventiveness was engineered on her own using previously learned skills from her earlier metalsmithing assignments in the semester and her playful imagination to get metal into motion. Currently, I'm fortunate to have Issa in my intermediate metalsmithing class, and I've already noticed her making great decisions. She recently discovered an idea drawn on paper does not always make for a good design. She made a mature choice when she came to me saying she wasn't very happy with her design challenge project and wanted to redesign and make a different one. This was after she spent a lot of time drawing, sawing, filing, sanding. She began to form it, and she wasn't satisfied. This breakthrough is huge in a person her age. Let's face it, she could have just kept on going, but she knew it wasn't her best. I applaud her for making this decision. Issa, I wanted to be proud of her metalsmithing work and find joy in making it. Issa, I look forward to seeing more of your beautiful work this semester in intermediate metalsmithing, and I can't wait to see your creativity and your ideas come to life. Congratulations on being a metalsmithing student of the month. Thank you. You're welcome. Charlotte Schulz is a deep dive creative thinker. She explores her designs and uses every opportunity to push into the 3D realm of metalsmithing. She's focused and full of thought towards her designs that are evident in her detailed sketches. It's apparent she finds joy in creating, learning hands-on, and making metalsmithing artwork. This can be seen in her final summative ring, depicting a swirl of a solar system with a 3D sun as the focal point, while the planets dangle with movement. She designed it to be worn for amusement. I was impressed with her creative decision-making and technical skills while she constructed this work, especially when I saw how successfully and independently she soldered tiny loops to her metal to dangle moving parts to add to the theme of her solar system ring. Charlotte has taken her skills and continued her love of jewelry making outside of the classroom. She spends hours exploring ways to use wire and beads to make the most creative, three-dimensional pieces for earrings, necklaces. This impresses me, knowing her passion for learning and creativity expands beyond the classroom walls and into her real life. Charlotte, I so look forward to seeing more of your creativity and metalsmithing artworks in our intermediate metalsmithing class. I already see you pushing your craftsmanship skills to make the most delicate and expertly sought out pieces in your current ring design challenge project. And I know you know how to pivot when you're faced with metalsmithing challenges and woes. As your teacher, I love the pride that shines from you and all of your artwork. Keep on doing what you love and finding joy in making your metalsmithing artwork. Congratulations on being
I have a feeling we're going to see you guys at the One of a Kind show down at the Merchandise Mart, and we're not going to be able to afford any of the things you've got on display. Okay. Mr. Meisty could not be here today for music, so Matthew, if you could come on up, I'm going to read what Mr. Meisty wrote about you. Thank you. You found the X spot? All right. There literally is an X on the floor. Matthew is a very enthusiastic band student. He cares about the band and helps the band be successful however he can. This includes making sure his fellow percussion students treat the instruments with respect and put them away safely. He always is ready to lend out a pair of his mallets to a classmate when they're working to find the right sounds for a piece. He is great about watching the conductor for tempo and nonverbal feedback and helps his section when they are not watching as well as he is. Due to training in percussion lessons, Matthew knows the proper ways to use the instruments and can help others who struggle strike the instruments. Struggle strike? Okay, I'm not a band person. Struggle strikes the instruments correctly, which, as mentioned before, is also an important part of taking care of our equipment. Lastly, Matthew's enthusiasm goes beyond the classroom as he also participates in a percussion ensemble outside of school to further his development as a musician. I'd love to hear that one of these days, okay? All right, thank you. And he'll present to you. Next up, we're going to have Ms. Melendez from the Health Department, not the Health Department, but from the Health class, come forward. We want no one from the Health Department here.
All right. I am presenting Samaya Collins, and she was an integral member of our classroom community during our health class last semester. She was never afraid to voice her opinion, share her experiences, or ask questions, which greatly benefited the entire class and made other people also feel like they can voice their opinions, ask their questions, and share their experiences. She worked very hard and was always engaged in whatever was happening in class. She also encouraged her peers to think differently and see different perspectives on various topics, while also keeping an open mind to hearing other viewpoints. Her bright and welcoming personality helped to make our classroom environment that all students felt comfortable to be themselves in. Now, after she received her nomination, she sent me an email saying she was surprised that I nominated her. So she didn't think that people noticed these things, so I've already told her, keep doing them because people do notice them even if they don't necessarily say them to you. So she's incredibly humble, which is greatly appreciated. Congratulations, Maya.
People notice more than you think, okay? Now from social studies, Mrs. Vall is going to introduce us to her student.
Good morning. My name is Micah Vall, and I am a social studies teacher here at LT. This is Kyla Hopkins, and I'm honoring her as South Campus Student of the Month this month for many reasons. I met Kyla just at the start of second semester, which has only been a few weeks, but already she has made a great impression. I am grateful for her morning greetings when she comes into my class before first hour. She has a contagious personality with a positive attitude. What an amazing combination. I look forward to you making it into the room at 7:15 a.m. with your smiling eyes behind your mask. Kyla has already made a name for herself as a leader in civics. She has gone above and beyond my expectations by asking thoughtful questions, leading small group discussions, and contributing her thoughts to the whole class discussion, even when the questions are challenging. I appreciate your willingness to engage in conversation with me and your peers and hope that you continue asking and thinking about the hard questions we talk about in this class. Recently, Kyla was absent for a few days and took it upon herself to look through the information that she had missed and came to me only when she had some questions about how to submit work that was late, prior to me even asking her to do so. I've really enjoyed getting to know you, Kyla. I'm looking forward to the rest of the semester, and congratulations.
That sounds like a recipe for success for life. Okay. Now from Student Services, we have two counselors, or two people that are going to present, Mrs. Gutierrez and Mrs. Chaplin.
Hello, I'm Daniela Gutierrez, and actually, Mrs. Chaplin could not be here this morning. She had a last-minute kind of planned absence yesterday, and I bring this up because Alex came to see me at the end of yesterday, and she wanted to know what she could do to prepare for the Student of the Month presentation this morning. And we talked about that, and then I said, you know what, Mrs. Chaplin's not going to be able to be here. And she said, oh, well, I will make sure I go home and get a good night's sleep so I can help her substitute tomorrow. Because Alex is a classroom leader. In fact, I've actually had Alex in class for the past 4 years. And I have just watched her grow, blossom, and really just become such a confident, smart, capable young woman. She is in my English class and my used to be my math and reading classes, and she has just really grown in her understanding of that content. And I've just watched her help the other students and just become kind of my go-to class secretary in the classroom. In her other classes, she's in a work skills class with Mrs. Chaplin. She's actually kind of an essential worker. She's over at Walgreens, right over in the Garden Market, and she assembles those COVID kits that people go through the drive-through in order to take. She's the one that's putting all of those together for the community, which is just a really neat and not that many seniors in high school are essential staff, so really kind of a special thing. In her child development class, she just gave an amazing presentation with this beautiful trifold poster and just did such a great job. I actually walked in the building this morning with her child development teacher and mentioned I was coming here to talk about her, and her teacher, Mrs. Cryers, back there dropped everything just to come and hear about Alex. That's just the special kind of girl that she is. She just really, everyone that meets her is just touched by her grace and her goodness, and we are just so grateful, and I am so proud of the 4 years we have had together. And I joke all the time that I am going to fail her so that she has to come back next year with me, and that's impossible because she gets wonderful grades and always completes everything on time, but I just don't know what I will do without her next year. Congratulations on being really student of the year. Okay.
That is the ultimate compliment when a teacher wants to fail your students so that they can have them again. And Alex, we love your school colors today, too. Thank you. Okay. Now from Family and Consumer Sciences, Ms. Kate Mitchell.
All right, hello everyone, good morning. I didn't fail Robin, but I'm lucky enough that Robin is in my advanced culinary arts class this semester, so it just so happens to work out that way sometimes, so win for me. I had the joy of working with Robin for a short time in culinary arts last semester, and in that short time, Robin always came to class with a great attitude and a great work ethic, which is huge in a lab class. Robin is always ready to do whatever challenge the activities for the day had in store. And I'm thrilled, again, that we'll be working together again in Advanced Culinary Arts this semester. And I personally wanted to thank Robin for being a conscientious student who comes to class every day at the end of the day, which is hard to do, ready to work and problem solve along the way. So I wanted to thank you, Robin, for being a model student and for your leadership in culinary. And I got really used to her classmates and peers saying things like, "Oh, Robin's not here. What are we going to do?" Or, "Robin's here." So I wanted to thank you for that and having that presence in our classroom. Thank you.
Oh, and sometimes the smells that come out of that classroom. Oh, the other day it was brownies. I think I gained 10 pounds just walking down the hall. Now Colleen Gibbons is going to introduce us to a student from World Languages.
Good morning. It is my privilege and honor to get to present Declan Shump to you this morning. As I've gotten to know Declan this year, he's in my ASL 1 class, I have learned definitively that Declan does not do anything without passion and enthusiasm. He is a voracious learner who is always coming to class with more questions. What is the sign for this? What is the sign for that? And engaging his peers who are maybe a little bit more hesitant to get involved, which leads to a much more lively class. So I appreciate that so much. Declan has also become very involved in ASL Club. He is our walking billboard. He makes sure everybody knows when we have an event, like today. I don't think I could fail him either, but gosh, I would love to and get to keep him in ASL 1. Nope, you can move on to ASL 2 next year, and I envision a great future for him, not only in sign language, but additionally just in his school career and his future because of the way he approaches the world and his learning and the accountability he takes for all of that hard work. So thank you, Declan.
Now, from Applied Technology, Mr. Boniface is going to introduce us to someone from furniture making.
Come on. Good morning, everyone. Today I'd like to recognize Aaliyah Arif as Student of the Month for the Applied Technology Department. Aaliyah is a student in my Intro to Furniture course. In there, she's working on how to safely and effectively use a variety of woodworking machines to make a cutting board project. Aaliyah is a great student that comes to class engaged and ready to learn and get to work. With all of the loud and powerful machines in the wood shop, there's usually a lot of nervousness and fear that goes into the first few days. Students are faced with machines that are powerful and dangerous if not used correctly. It can be intimidating. During this time, Aaliyah set the tone for her class when she showed her grit and determination on the first cut using our new miter saw. Aaliyah was up first for the entire class. We had a new saw and a new stand that was being used to replace a saw that had broken down. As she walked up, I thought, oh no, this isn't going to work. We soon realized, both of us, that due to her height versus the height of the machine, it was going to be a much more difficult task than either of us had anticipated. Since I hadn't had any high schoolers, freshmen, sophomores, or anyone cut on it yet, I didn't quite realize the height discrepancy there. She admitted she was nervous, so I walked her through the cut process one more time and said if she didn't feel comfortable making the cut, I'd make it for her. After the demonstration, she said, nope, I've got this. She adjusted her stance so she had better leverage, and after a few tries getting used to the torque of the saw, she made all the cuts she needed to. Instead of letting her fear keep her from learning something new, Aaliyah challenged herself to make the difficult cut and trusted that she could complete it. Afterwards, her quote of, "that was fun," was an example to everyone in the class that it was okay to be nervous, but it doesn't need to stop us from learning or experiencing new things. It can be fun when you overcome that nervousness. Her attitude set the tone for everyone and put the whole class at ease with the new machines. The leadership and strength she showed made her an obvious choice for Student of the Month. Congratulations, Leah.
Rosie the Riveter would be very, very proud of you, okay? Now from math, we're going to hear from Mrs. Andrews on her student.
So I'm Bridget Andrews. I teach geometry here at South Campus. I have been very lucky to have Naima in class this year. She is not only an intelligent, curious student, she's also kind and fun. Last semester, she was in a class where not all the students necessarily always made the best choices, but she was a role model in the classroom and helped all of them to be the best that they could be. She walks in every day with a smile. I can tell it's a smile. I know it's under there. It's under there. And she works very, very hard to ensure success for herself. She accepts new challenges. She actually moved up a level this semester, which is, and she thought hard about it. It wasn't just a choice that she made randomly. She is a critical thinker. She thinks really hard about the choices that she makes, and she's a critical thinker in the math classroom as well. She always is asking questions, which I very much appreciate as a teacher, because sometimes students will be afraid to ask questions, which we love questions as teachers, everyone here knows. sorry. She has a humble confidence and is a great communicator. So a lot of students will sometimes not communicate as well as she does, which she knows what she doesn't know. She's a role model to all students. She's a wonderful person, and I'm so happy that I've gotten to know her this year.
Numbers will get you far, absolutely. Now from our English department, Mr. Wesley is going to be introducing us to his student.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Bill Wesley, and this is Daniel Gutierrez. I'll say a few quick words about him, one of my favorite students. Daniel is a hardworking, mature young man who is always positive, and he makes a great contribution to our classes, both through his comments and even just his mere presence. He handles himself and carries himself in a very mature way, dignified way, and not afraid to be a leader in a quiet way as well. He has he's grown as a writer. He's even injected humor into a memoir he has about a rattlesnake encounter in Mexico, which, by the way, he says that rattlesnake tastes like chicken. Gives you an idea of how that story ended. One of my favorites. It was great. He's also an accomplished musician. He plays, well, let me give you a little backstory. After I played a video of a cover version of Richie Valens' hit La Bamba, and it was performed by a California band that used traditional Mexican instruments, and I asked students if any of them played music, if they played instruments, or just to kind of get some conversation going. And that's when I learned that Daniel actually plays, what do you play? He plays in the traditional Mexican band, played traditional Mexican music. You play guitar, accordion, am I correct? And a couple others maybe? Drums, and you do a little singing as well? So, let's see, and overall, he is a great kid, smart, hardworking, responsible, and one of my favorite students. So, if you can give a round of applause to Daniel Gutierrez. Oops, I think I'm taking everybody's stuff here.
I'll take my list.
Yep. This up here for you.
Daniel, I'm glad you beat the rattlesnake. Okay. Now, from business education, we'll hear from Krista Wilcox.
Good morning, I'm Krista Wilcox, and this is Adam. Adam was in my 8th period keyboarding class last fall. He's hardworking, very friendly, always came in, like everybody said, with a smile on his face. We don't know that for sure, but you can tell by their eyes and just how they walk in and greet you. And he always had such a positive attitude all year. Keyboarding is a very independent class, so students do work very quietly, very independently most of the time. So sometimes it is difficult to get to know students well. However, I was able to get to know Adam and found he is very talkative and quite passionate about hockey. Unfortunately, in mid-October, Adam was at a hockey game, I think in Detroit? Okay, yep, Detroit. And he broke his ankle in the game. So this meant that he was out of school for a few days, obviously had to deal with a lot of things going on. But when he came back, he needed to stay after school for a little bit so that someone could come and pick him up. So I was fortunate enough that he was in my 8th period, so he stayed in my class, and I got to talk to him quite a bit. He shared with me how he broke his ankle. I got to see the video of it happening. And through October and November, he stayed with me most days after school. So I learned a lot about him, about his family, other things that he enjoyed doing outside of school. And talking to Adam was a highlight of my day. It was a great way to end my day because he is full of energy and always has a positive attitude, so it was quite contagious. It was a great way for me to get to know him. I don't think I would have gotten to know him as well if he hadn't broken his ankle, even though I'm sure he wishes he didn't break his ankle. But as you can see, he's doing better. And that is why I nominated Adam for Student of the Month. So.
Adam, are you back on the ice? I am. All right, okay. Nothing keeps the hockey guy down, right? Now, Mrs. Petrovsky is going to introduce us to her science student.
Good morning, I'm Mrs. Petrovsky. This is Daniel Pablo Popovich. So Daniel was an obvious choice for Student of the Month. He's an excellent scientist. He's always asking deeper questions in class. I always know, we do a lot of group work in my class, and I always know whatever group Pablo's in, he's going to do great. He's going to lead his group, and there's going to be no issues with that group being on task, but also learning the material. He has a very calm confidence. So the way he carries himself in class, he acts as a role model for a lot of students. He goes by Pablo in my class. I'm going to call you Daniel and Pablo interchangeably this introduction. So Daniel was actually, his schedule changed at the semester, so he briefly got switched out of my 6th period class. But then his schedule changed again, so he got switched back into 6th period. And when he came back, everyone cheered for him. Everyone was very happy that Daniel was back. So he's a very obvious choice. I'm very excited to see what you'll do as a scientist in the future. Congratulations. Get the last bag, and here's your certificate. Thank you.
We need more scientists, too. That does conclude our presentation this morning, but as I'm listening to everything, certainly common themes. Your students are leaders, they care about their fellow classmates, they're prepared, they're energetic, they have a thirst for learning, and they're kind. And that didn't happen by accident. That came from you, the parents. And so I'd like, on behalf of LT, to thank you all for raising such wonderful students for us to teach. So I thank you for that, because your kids are never going to say anything, okay? And kids, Monday is Valentine's Day. Don't forget Mom, okay? Okay, and Dad too, okay? So in the spirit of love, let's go forward and have a wonderful weekend, and congratulations, everyone.